Hello, lovelies. We are here for another Power Hour. It is Tuesday, the 16th of April, 2024. It is a little past 7 p.m. and I've got a whole stack of you here. Today, I am very excited to welcome in my beautiful Charlie. Charlie will give herself an introduction, but anyone who's known me for a long time, oh, I hate when it does this. Anyone who's known me a long time knows that Charlie has been in my life for a very long time. I think we originally met at trade school when I was like 16, 17. And it's just been a love story ever since. So today we're going to be on the topic of all things branding, a little bit of housekeeping. We obviously love seeing your faces, but if you could please keep yourself muted. If you have any questions at all, type them in the chat. I will ask all of your questions for you. Just when we have too many people asking questions, it gets a bit messy and confusing and there's too much background noise. So if you can keep yourself muted, I'd be very appreciative. And I'm going to hand over to you, Charlie. So give us a bit of an intro. Tell us a little bit about you.
Awesome. I'm so excited for all you guys to be here. So thank you, first of all, for showing up. So I am Caitlin's client liaison at the moment. So been a bit back and forth. I think it's been, what did we say, 8 years? I've been
on and off 8 years. Yeah, it was 2015, I think. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So in between that time, I managed Caitlin's salons and barbershop and the coaching. And then went off, I owned Harlow Hair and Beauty Supplies. And then clearly, then there was issues with pregnancy. We don't need to get into all that fun stuff. So then I come back to Caitlin and then took a little bit of time off because I wanted to spend some time with my little one. But now I'm back. I'm back with a vengeance. But I also own Midnight Creative Co., which is a branding business that, I do logo design, I create stationery kits, anything you need. We do templates.
Video, tiles, bloody everything.
That's right. We do everything. So Absolutely. So it's a lot of fun. So my passion is like designing things. And I think that's where Kate and I really work really well together because we both have the same mindset when it comes to design.
Yeah, my crack acid branding isn't everyone's cup of tea, but when I was like, I just want it to be like rock and roll, big tit energy, all the things, just pick it up with it. Yeah.
So and that's the whole thing that we're going to be talking about today is like that type of branding. Like, Kate's branding when it comes up in your Instagram feed, no matter what, like it's
finding who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we're going to go through quite a bit of like the power of visual identity, all that sort of stuff. We're going to talk about sensory stuff, client experience, creating your brand. So we've got lots to go through.
I think that too. Sorry to keep cutting you off. Just also today, we really want to put a focus on, because we all are bricks and mortar businesses as well, really important that we want to cover all bases when it comes to branding, but it's not just exclusive to social media or online or your logo. It's about like the salon space, your uniform, your staff, your team, like everything. Like, we want to make sure everything's really congruent and flowing.
Yeah, it's like you've got to think of it as it's your personality, it's your voice, it's what you want your business to be perceived as. So you've really got to get that right, and I think and that will just attract your target audience like nothing. So it'll be good. So I actually want to start by going through the visual identity of branding. So sorry if you see me looking down, I've got my notes.
Just on that too, for a couple of late entrants here, just typing your questions in the chat box if you do have them. I will absolutely ask your questions. If anything comes up, if you want more information, anything like that, fire away. Chat box is open. I'm managing that for Charlie so she can just do her thing. So go forth.
So your visual identity is the face of your brand. So this is how you will shape how your audience perceives you. And that's super important. Like, as we said, your bricks and mortar that people are walking past, people are driving past. What they're looking at is your brand. You may think it's just a shop and that your logo is your brand. It's everything about the space, even when they walk past when no one's in here. It's how, when they're looking through the windows, that's your brand. And like if you think of things like Nike with their tick, their swoosh, like that's iconic. And that's, you just have to see that to know that it's Nike. You don't even need to see the brand name. Like you don't need to see what their actual name is for their business because you already know it. Same as Apple. You know it. You see the Apple
Like
written.
Band-Aids. Band-Aids aren't actually called Band-Aids. They're called plasters. But Band-Aids branding is so strong that you call it Band-Aids.
Yeah. It just,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the strength that your brand identity can bring for you. And you think, oh, we're not like these big companies, but you don't need to be the big companies to stand out. Like
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
I always think of like Coca-Cola as well. Like, you know, it's not like we don't go get a cola, like we go get a Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
they completely like revolutionized and owned the space. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, that's it. Like it's the simple things, and that's where you've really got to look into your brand and go, it is the simple things that are going to stand out. You know, simplicity is key with all of this.
And doing things differently to everybody else. Like stop doing what everyone else is fucking doing and do your own thing. It's like the
Yeah.
key thing.
That's right. Like when you are looking at your logo or creating a new logo, like don't look at what everybody else is doing. Like, yeah, get some ideas, go on Pinterest, do all those things, get your inspiration, but you really need to make it your own to stand out. Because if you have a similar logo to someone in the same town, then people aren't going to differentiate the two of you. It's just going to be, oh yeah, they're kind of the same. They use, you know, similar fonts or something like that. Like really look into it and think about it. I know you think that it's just text or whatever when it comes to a logo, or just shapes, but really think about what you want people to be looking at and what you want to be recognizable as your business. So yeah. So start there. So when after you know, you've got the logo and everything, what we want to look at is color. So color is everything. You need to have a color palette and you need to be consistent with it. So if you look at like all of Kate's branding, like anything that we do with our social media, or
I know mine is the most extreme kind of branding you can find. So please don't think we're going to sit here and turn everything fluoro green. Like, no.
Yeah. I like to use yours because it's so specific.
Yeah.
Only because it's so recognizable. And, you know, when you are looking up for a salon coach or anything, you're going to go for the one that stands out, the one that that makes most sense to our age group as well. So it's fun. So that's what, you know, that's what we put across. But the color palette, we might do all these different types of tiles on social media or, you know, even business cards, anything. The color palette stays the same.
Yeah.
We have our colors and we stick to our colors, and that's key. So then we tweak things outside of that. So we can use, you know, the bubble font that we've been using for the power hours, like that's still in our colors.
Yeah.
But it's created its own brand within Kate Mule Coaching.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so what do you like for people who I guess don't know who they are or don't know what their brand is, like where do you think is like the best place to start? Because there is a lot of like that Pinterest stuff. I'm sorry, my phone keeps connecting to my keeps connecting to my FaceTime thing. It's really annoying. I'm gonna put my phone on flight mode.
So what I generally start with when I first start talking to someone about their brand, I will create a Pinterest board. So from everything that, you know, people are talking about and, you know, what sort of person comes into your salon, like think about the person you're trying to attract and what they're going to like.
Yeah.
Whether it is, you know, the coastal side of things or whether it is edgy, whether it is, you know, creative, like, you know, then get on Pinterest and create a mood board. I do that for everything. Like even, like when I am, well, redesigning my house, like that wants to tell me.
Me every month.
I do too often apparently, but I'll create a Pinterest board so then I can see how everything is looking together, and then you get a gauge of what feel and what vibe you really want for your brand. And I just think you just go from there and
Yeah.
you create something that resonates with you. Don't just copy like
Yeah.
exactly what's on there. You just
Yeah.
go, "Oh, well, I really like these styles of fonts or these styles of logos," or, you know, you just get an idea and then you go from there and then you personalize it for yourself.
Yeah. And I
But
think that too is like really deep diving and like understanding who your client is. I think so many people overlook this. Like funnily, my coaching branding is kind of similar to what my salon branding was. It's like loud and proud. We love the really like crazy color, like fun, bright people. What speaks to them? What will they attract? Like if you want the Byron Bay influencers, beachy girls, where's the linens, that thing, that's cool. Like what speaks to them, like what's going to draw them in, you know what I mean?
yeah,
People really overlook kind of like exploring who their clients are.
yeah, absolutely. And I think also like when you're like, if we break down like the whole psychology of color and things like that, like really look into those things. People dismiss color as it's just you know, it's just what it is. Like it doesn't make any difference, but it changes how you look to someone. It's what makes you recognizable. Like if you think of Macca's, the yellow, like
The golden arches.
that's right, the golden arches, like you just know it. Like, and they did really well with that because they've never changed that because
Mm.
they created that what is it called? Like that sunshine type thing. Like it's great. Like it's
Draws you in.
it
I
really does
think,
put you in. But
yeah,
like even with Coke, like red, like it's red. So
yeah.
they know what they're looking at. So like, and if you're looking at like different types of colors, like so blue is more about like trust and reliability and things like that.
Regal, royal,
That's right. Yeah.
red, white, and blue, patriotic.
That
Yeah.
is right. You know, but if you're going with the like the greens and things like that, that's like harmony and balance. And, you know, so you've really got to think about the psychology of those colors, especially when you have clients in your salon. You know, like you've got them in your beauty room or even in the salon.
Yeah, don't have a bright red beauty room.
That's right. Because that's not what they're there for.
It'll
They're there
pass
for
people
relaxation.
out.
Yeah, that's right. So they're there for relaxation. And red might be your favorite color, but think about what your clients want, not, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah, if you want them to feel relaxed in that space, if you want that sort of vibe for your salon, find colors that actually resonate with that.
Yeah.
And then yeah, if you want them to feel like punchy and energized and whatever, then find colors that resonate with that. And if you want them to feel, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
you know, we cover this. We have a whole training just on color, obviously the coaching circle, but like it's really important that you understand why you kind of gravitate towards those colors and also what it will make people feel. It's actually insane. So like, I don't know, I'm going so on a tangent here, just taking over your chat. There's actually a lot about the power of colors in healing as well, like healing the body and healing self. So if you've got something specific that you work in or a space that you specifically work in, it's definitely worth doing some research and finding out what it will do for people.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I actually just want to double back to logos, because I didn't actually say when we when we are organizing, designing our logos, don't just pick one logo. You need to have what's called like a submark logo. So you need an alternative because sometimes you've got to think of the scalability of things. So if like this one here for AMD, it's like a circle, it's got AMD, it's got hairdressing around it, but on a small scale, you have no idea what it is. You can't read it. So it's also created one where it's just AMD hairdressing, very simple. But if I have that on a smaller scale, you can still see it as a whole. So yeah, so think of things like that. Like we've got for Kate's one as well. We've got the Kate Muir coaching, and then we've got the Submark one where it can be.
And I got rock hands.
Little rock hands there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so think about those sorts of things as well. Have a Submark logo because that's also simplifying your larger logo, and you can also use that for like if you have packaging, then you can just use your Submark logo but it's still easily recognizable as your brand. just gives you other options too. So you can be like, all right, so maybe that logo doesn't really suit that style of things, but we've got the Submark logo, which is, which will look really good on that packaging or, anything like that.
I think also like it's such an aesthetic industry when we're watermarking photos and stuff as well. I think it's really important that like you want the option of changing something out. Like if it doesn't stand out against the photo or whatever, you want to have something that like, yeah, kind of like draws you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that also like plays in with the colors as well. Like pick a color palette. Don't just pick one color.
You also don't have to have 12 like I do. Just pick like 3.
Yeah. So 3 to 4 colors is a good amount of like colors to have in, when you're designing a brand kit, which is what you should do when you are rebranding. So you should have a brand kit, which shows you your logo, your Submark logo options, the typography, and then have some visuals on there as well, so you have a vibe of what you want to do.
It's also an easy go-to to like jump into to be like, hey, cool, like I'm creating whatever it is, like I'm creating some slides, or I'm creating a carousel, or I'm creating something, and I can just grab all those colors that are like my brand, and they're just right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And when you do create those things, obviously getting a professional to design your logo and things like that is so important, because you don't Canva can design a logo for you, but at the end of the day, you can tell a Canva logo to a professional one, and invest in like the things that are going to speak to your clients.
And like, for God's sake, if you're going to use a Canva template, please change them into your colors, and please change them into your fonts, and please make sure it resonates with your brand. If it's this like weird wiggly thing and you don't have wiggly anything, don't do it. You can like it, you can appreciate it, don't use it. So
yeah. You're not gonna have something where it's like all diamonds, but then have something super beachy in your salon. Like it's just not gonna work. But yeah, and there's so many ways, and this is why sometimes professionals are really good with that, because they do know the psychology of the colors, and knowing how to color match too. So color matching is not easy. You can pick 5 colors and think that, oh yeah, they look really good together, until you try to design something, and then you're like, oh wow, they actually don't gel really together. So there could be something completely out there that you wouldn't even think to put together, that like Kate's, we've got the crazy colors, but we also have muted colors in there too, because you need that balance. And sometimes you just go, I want like 4 like pink, red, blue, green, like I want crazy colors. You've got to make sure that you are using the psychology of that, going, no, we still need some muted ones because we need the balance. Because if you don't have the balance, that's when it looks messy. But yeah, so yeah, the colors with that, same as your logo. Don't overcomplicate your logo. Don't keep it, have 500 different colors in your logo.
I love it, because that's me, 500 different colors in your logo. Don't do what I do. No, it's fine.
Just like contradicting everything like that you do.
Oh, that's funny.
But that's also that does depend. If you are a salon that you are that crazy rock, whatever, then that might work for you. But you still need a balance in there. Like you can have 500 different colors, but you need that balance, and choose that wisely, because that can go either 2 ways there too.
I think it's kind of like, it's the same rule as like when you're training like an apprentice or a trainee or whatever to like clean up the salon. Like they just don't see things like an owner sees things. Like you walk in, you're like, there's hair there, there's a towel there, there's a coffee cup there. Like, why isn't someone doing it? It's like we always used to tell people, it's like, go sit in the chair at the front of the salon and look around the salon, because we service predominantly women, and they are going to see everything, because women are really intuitive and also really perceptive. So it's kind of the same thing like with your logo and stuff. Like, sit back, try and have a neutral eye on it, and actually see what other people see. Like, what is my brand, like what is that telling me? Like, is it telling me that I'm going to go into this loud salon with the DJ on the side with fucking, crazy colored stuff with all these things? Or is it telling me I'm going to go into this like cool, calm, like relaxed, whatever vibe? Put yourself in someone else's shoes and like pull yourself out of it, like dissociate it.
And that's probably like a really good thing to do. Like, step outside your salon, like actually look at your salon and see, what are they looking at? Like, what are people looking at when they are driving past? Like, what, and is that coming across like I want it to? Like, is this exactly what I'm expecting, like, my clients to see? And yeah, you'll be very surprised. Sometimes you'll just look at it and you'll be like, holy shit, like, yeah. Because when you're in here, like when you're in your space, like, yeah, whatever. And then when you finish work, you go home. You're not really looking at your amazing advertising space that you've got there. You know? So
I think something with that too is it's really funny, like, you know, we become like, you guys would know probably a little bit about their consciousness hierarchy without going into too much. Basically, like, you get in your car and you automatically put on your seatbelt, you turn the car on, hands on steering wheel, pop it into gear, you're good to go, right? Completely like unconsciously aware. So like you're just doing it, it's just form part of your habit, whatever. It's the same thing as like if you walk in somewhere every day, you see the same things every day. It's not in your conscious awareness, it's just in the background. You know it's there, but you don't know it's there. It's just kind of you going about your day. If I was to take this picture off the wall, every day I would walk in and be like, oh, that wall looks so bare. So it's kind of the same thing as like trying to like put yourself in someone else's shoes, is to like take yourself out of that situation and go, all right, look at everything, take notice of everything, like take it all in and see what people see.
yeah. And
Or you get in a car that's got the indicators on the wrong sides. You're like, ah, every time we go in, you're like, fuck.
I have 2 cars, both indicators, different.
Same with us.
Can't deal with it.
So sometimes, yeah, don't get stuck in the grind. Like pull yourself out of it.
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, and have a look around at other places and other salons of, you know, go for a drive and have a look at their exteriors and whether you would attend that salon based off what you're looking at.
Yeah, be a judgy budgie.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I'd happily do that.
I go get blow waves and I suss them out. It's fine.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's perfect to do things like that because once you do design your logo and pick your colors and you do all those things, as you said, you sit back and you go, well, that's done now. Like I don't need to do anything. You do still need to keep up to date and, you know, you might need some slight changes here or there just to keep up to date, but never lose your original branding.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick with it. So like, as I was talking about with the typography type of stuff, like it makes a massive difference to whether your logo looks like a child's handwriting or whether it looks sleek and professional, or, you know, really look at it and choose your fonts wisely, because you could easily do, like, everyone knows Comic Sans. Like,
oh, the worst. And papyrus or whatever it is, papyrus.
yeah. Yeah. Choose it wisely. There's so many options out there now. You know, back in the day, like, what did we have? We had, what was it? The Microsoft Word art. Like,
Helvetica.
Helvetica. Yeah, Helvetica was like everywhere. Like that was, if you didn't have Helvetica, you were not the shit. So,
and so like, where do you recommend that people, like, if they're like trying to like try on some fonts and see what works for them, where do you think they should go with that? Because a lot of you guys don't realize you can actually buy fonts, load them to your computer. You can actually load them into Canva and stuff like that too. So like, tell us about that.
Yeah, so there are a couple of different websites that I will choose to go to. There's 1001fonts.com. So if you go there, you can put in even the name of your business, and then as you're scrolling down, you can type find the type of font that you want as well, whether you want it to be like calligraphy, whether you want it to be sans serif, stuff like that. So you can look into all those things and then look at how your actual business name looks with that font. So yeah, 1001fonts.com, Dafont, so DAFONT.com, that's another one. There's also Google Fonts. So Google Fonts is a good one because they've got a lot that is commercial. So they're commercial licenses. So there are some things to look at when you are looking into the type of fonts you want as well. So be aware that some of them don't have a commercial license, they're personal use only. But if you have an idea and you go, this is the type of font I want, you find something in 1001 fonts and you give that to the professional, they'll either find that one, they might even own it as well, so they can use it. Or they'll source something very similar. So it's certainly super important to do those things and see what type of style fonts you like for your business. And that's also so you don't just have the one font either. So you have the, what you have for your headings and things like that, and then what you would use for your text and
your body text,
body text and stuff like that. So just you have a play around and you just go, what ones do I like? What resonates with me and what I like for my business? There's also Creative Fabrica, I think it's called. They're like independent people that have created fonts. So that's also something to go on. And I go on there a lot. They sometimes have, if you sign up, you'll get emails every now and then where they will send free fonts to your emails and stuff like that. And you can download like 1,000 different fonts in specific styles, and they're all commercial use.
I was gonna say, I had I don't know, I wonder if I've got a business card. I've got so many of my old cards here, but Raw Edge was my handwriting. Where is it? I've got one of these. It's on my like old business cards. It's just so good. Yeah, like I actually made my own font for my own business. It was cool. But yeah, you guys that's good.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like you can use your own handwriting. Like I recently did I did a logo for a girl who is a filmmaker, and she's just made a film about her, I think it's like her great grandmother, and so it's called Daisy. And so she wanted to use her grandmother's signature as like the logo for the movie. So
I love that.
Yeah. So I then created that in digital form for her. And like she was blown away. And so it can have that emotional attachment too, which is great.
I love that.
Yeah. Like I love it when people have like handwritten tattoos, like, they've got like I love you in their dad's handwriting or something like that. Stuff like that. Like same thing. Like we can create those things for you.
I love that. Something that too is like, and definitely something I learned studying interior design, which you might have learned too, is like the rule of 60-30-10. So it's like 60%. So like if you're writing an email or something, 60% of it will be this body text, and then it's like 30% of it will be like all the subheadings, and then like 10% of it will be like the big heading at the top. And it's the same with your colors. So when you're designing a home or when you're designing a workspace or something like that, 60% might be white, which is fine, but then you'll have 30% that'll be green and 10% that'll be yellow, and that'll be like your feature like poppy colors. So like always think about that too, is like you kind of have like one that's like majority and then a couple of other things that go along with it as well.
With it,
but they all work together in their own weird little way.
Yeah, like I was just discussing with someone who's building a house at the moment. They've put like, I think it's called like forest green cabinetry in their kitchens. And so they went to have a look at their house, and it's only the kitchen in there at the moment. And that forest green is freaking them out because they're like, it's so overpowering. I'm like, relax. You don't even have like your flooring done. You haven't styled it. Like tops on, like it's stuff like that. Like that one color that you might think is overpowering, used in the most simple way and everything styled around it will look absolutely gorgeous.
Have one plant at the other side of the room in that same forest green color, and it'll be like completely balanced.
That's right. It's about balance and making sure that you're not overdoing it. Like if she had the green cabinetry and then like a green feature wall, like that too much in one space. But as you said, you go small scale with a plant. It's amazing. Yeah. So as I was talking about, like the visual identities of things like, like Nike and Apple and Coke and things like that, like they've done those things where they know how to use their colors. Like Google, like they've got their rainbow thing going on. Yeah, but everything else is white. So
do you think too, like, when we're talking about business branding and things like that, I mean, obviously I'm here for a rebrand too. Like, do you think that like there should be a like certain level of longevity in whatever they're creating? Like, do you think that it should be like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? Do you think like what do you think with that? Because I'm kind of like a bit of a believer in like, it's kind of going on my own question here, but kind of a bit of a believer, like if you buy a house or something, you kind of renovate it every 15 years because it kind of like there's a cycle that like goes around. Like you kind of need to keep things updated to you don't want to bore your people.
Yeah, that's right. So the way I think of it is, so you create your logo. That's got to be timeless. Your logo has to be timeless. So your color palette, I like adjusting color palettes like every year or every 2 years, something like that. So you can adjust them.
Like
And
blow them out or mute them down or like,
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Just like give something fresher for people to look at. And you can do, those slight tweaks with your logos. You might even, still keep your timeless main logo, but then you might change your submark logo, that might resonate better with you. Or, after a year's time or 2 years' time, you might be like, all right, well, I'm kind of not vibing that submark logo. I'd like something else, or the colors, then let's adjust those. But like, be open to those sorts of changes because you don't have to just stick with what you've just done. But yeah, as long as there's like some part of it that's timeless that people will always recognize you, then yeah, you'll be fine. Changing little things like colors and little slight things of your logo. You'd want your logo to be timeless, but also don't hold on to it if it isn't timeless. Like, don't think that you've got to keep that for 10 years, like, because in 10 years' time, like, it's going to be completely different. Like you had a completely different style for your business when you first started. And then, and then from there, it's kind of,
That's probably like a good thing to highlight too. I think that, and I'm sure that so many of you listening in can relate to this, is like, so Charlie and I went through our apprenticeships at the same time, and our bosses were frenemies. I think they were in a relationship for a while, but they like just like love hated each other. It was very funny, but they were both of us super old school men, I think in their 40s, early 50s back then. And they were, like classic in the way they lived, but like both our salons were kind of like, you can put them next to each other and they would be kind of the same thing. They were like white on white on white, gloss white tiles, white grout, white chairs, white basins, white everything. And then the other thing with that was like, we had to wear like a shirt and a skirt and heels to work, like every single day, full face makeup. We had to wear lipstick every day. Like it was crazy. So I think that when I first opened or bought my first business when I was 19, I think that I had this expectation of like, this is what people want from a hairdresser. They want professional, they want glamorous, they want high end, they want like a upper class, like put together, like very like pompous almost, like a bit,
yeah, that's right.
like very professional. And I'm like, y'all know me clearly because you're here. Nothing like that speaks to me. Like, yes, I'm professional and yes, I'm high end, but I do it in my own weird way. So I think that like actually my branding, I was very much trying to like fit in with the cool kids and be part of the crowd and be part of what I thought people wanted, rather than being true to myself and who I actually was. And I don't think even at 19 years old I really knew who I was, but I think that definitely over the years it's like I've kind of like unlocked new parts of myself and like my brand has developed with that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, like, you don't have to stay with that same logo. You can fully rebrand yourself if that's not sitting right with you anymore. Like if that's not who you are anymore. If you have changed from, like, let's say, like when Kate owned this salon, it was very much about creative colors. Like it was out there, crazy. Like we did lots of, really cool stuff. It's when Loz bought it, it's kind of transitioned over to being, we still do our creative colors, but like it's a lot of blondes and, so it's had to change, like, how we have branded ourselves and how Loz
You
wants
just don't want all the crazy coconuts anymore that I loved. You want more of the balayage blonde basic.
Kaz is one of the
I joke. No.
But yeah, no, but that's the thing, like, so it had to had
to adapt.
Yeah. So, and that's the same as you when you first started coaching Summit Salon Coach. Like it was the purples and all of that, because that's who you were at the time.
Yep.
But then as the years have gone on, like you're not that person anymore. So you do not have to keep that branding just because you started with it.
Yeah, you can evolve and your business can evolve with you.
Yeah.
What's your advice on people like let's say someone's like, okay, cool, like I want to completely change names. I've done it multiple times, so it's I know all about this, but what's your advice for people like how to choose a name or how to like actually, yeah, choose their business name, choose their business brand.
Yeah, so choosing a business name, it's not easy. Like you can go through so many different ideas. Like before I settled with Midnight
Midnight.
Creative,
Yeah.
yeah, I was so confused at, you know, what do I want it to be? Like I even had Axeria Creations, which was Axel and Aria. So I had them meshed
Yeah.
together. So yeah, so it's stuff like that that like what do you want it to mean? Like AMD hairdressing is Alicia Millie Day, which
Yeah.
is kids, you know. So it's
Yeah, I got super creative when I named it Keep Your Coaching.
super creative.
I love a play on names though. So I've got a client, her name's Cody, and we were literally, she came to my last Evolve and we were sitting there like at our end of Evolve dinner, like when everyone's evolved and happy. And I was like, you need to call it hair code. And she's like, oh, I've never thought of that. I'm like, no, because it needs to be like, you don't want it to be like hair by Cody, which is what it was. Like, you need it to be something that's like, she wanted gender neutral. She serviced men and women. She was barbering and hairdressing. She was kind of creative cosmetics. She was like a bit of everyone. I was like, needs to be like hair code, like unlock a code. Like that's you. Like you're a bit of a puzzle. Like, and she was like, oh my God, that's like the best thing ever. Like play on names is my favorite thing. Like I wish I had a better name to like play on my names.
Yeah. Like there was a girl who used to work for Caitlin called Kirby Stonehouse. When she was wanting to maybe go and rent a chair and stuff like that, she was discussing with me what she should name it. And so we were talking about, and we kind of come up with Main House because it's Stonehouse, but at main hair, like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
house, so Main House. And I was like, that's perfect. She didn't do anything with it. So feel free
Yeah.
to use anyone if
Yeah, God forbid, guys, if you don't want to be the constant contact of everybody ringing the business, please don't put your name on your fucking business. Do not put like Kate Muir Coaching. Thank God my phone number's not on everything, because I remember when I first bought my salon, it was called Chelsea Lane, and I had an apprentice named Kelsey, and the poor girl, my God, she got ringed. I was like, can I speak to Kelsey? Can I speak to Chelsea? Like, it was so funny. So yeah, unless you want to be like, you know, the receiving end of all those phone calls and stuff, don't put your name on it. But I think a play on names is cool. I think also like finding a word or something that resonates with your clients and like the kind of work you want to do. So when we did hunter and huntress, hunter is not a really common word, but I felt like all of our clients, I know that at that time we had heaps of paramedics, heaps of like ambulance people, heaps of like just really like powerful, incredible women. A lot of our clients at that time weirdly were like single, like disposable income, like boss CEO women. So I was like, oh my God, Huntress, like powerful woman, like that's so good. And then we can have Hunter, which is the barbershop, which is kind of, it's like baby brother. Like, yeah, I think find things that kind of resonate with who you are. Where did Harlow come from?
So Harlow was actually a name that I wanted for one of my children.
Yeah.
So that was just like,
yeah, she had one and it was a horrible birth, and she's an amazing child, but she's realized she's all the energy and she only needs one.
I only need one. But yes, Harlow was like one of those names that always stuck in my head. Oh yeah, if I have a kid, I love that name. But then when you think about things, and there was even things like Harlow and Fox, and stuff. It was the random thing too. Like Fox had nothing to do with anything that I do. But Harlow and Fox, I'm like, it sounds really cool together. So if something sounds cool, and you want to use it, try it out with different things and just be like, how does it sound? How does it,
Yeah.
So,
and also ASIC search yourself, Google search yourself. I had a client in the Gold Coast who was trying to create a hair extensions brand. She had a salon, she was trying to create a hair extensions brand, and her salon's branding she was trying to use, so it was going to be like X name and X extensions. And I Googled her. I was like, so straight away when I get in Instagram and I type in that name, it comes up with a brand in America. Like, that's trademark infringement. Like, you can't do that. And she's like, but it's my salon's brand. I'm like, yeah. And so you can never sell to people in the US ever. And if they ever launch here and their business has been established longer than you, like you then put yourself up for that sort of like suing as well. And Americans sue fucking everybody. And I had this happen when I got Raw Edge, had no idea there was another Raw Edge. They'd been flying under the radar for years. They were the worst branding, like this weird little salon in Northcote. And actually that was the reason that I changed from Raw Edge, was because they contacted me and said, well, we've been established longer. our name's been and we're in the same state, everything. So we changed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. Like
do
it's
your
just,
due diligence.
yeah, that's right. Like research everything and, especially when you are trying to think of a business name, because the last thing you want is to come up with this great idea of a name and then you decide to like do all this branding and everything. And then you realize that there's another salon.
Yeah. It kind of hole in my soul because I felt like that was like a part of who I was. And I was like, no, this is good. I get like an opportunity to change now. Like it's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, it happens. It
Plus,
happens
like
a lot.
even something like as similar, like I had Harlow Hair and Beauty Supplies.
Hmm.
There was not long after that, there was a salon in Geelong called Halo Hair and Beauty.
On
So
like 2 streets from you. I
yeah,
remember.
yeah. So it's things like that as well, where that made me think like that was great for me. Like I love that. I love my branding with Harlow. Like that just like
Yeah, it was you.
yeah.
I just want to quickly go to Eleni's question here. So Elle has decided to change her name and she has just said, I've just searched and there's a salon in Vegas. So I just want to clarify something with you, Elle, is your bricks and mortar, you don't service people from Vegas. If you're like my business, I don't have a locality. I service the whole world. So if there's a Kate Muir coaching anywhere else in the world, that's gonna suck for me. But like you are fine to use it. If there's a salon in Vegas with the same name, you just take that name, Honey Buns. That's like your Australian name. You're never going to compete with somebody in Vegas, so it's fine.
I think you're better off searching in ASIC with those things because
Yep.
that will tell you whether that's already been taken. So if
Yep.
it's taken in this country, no chance.
Yeah, I agree. I need a blind top up.
Yeah. So then even if there is something over in the US, it doesn't really matter as long as you're not wanting to expand over to the US. But yeah, search ASIC only because that will tell you whether that name is available. Because yeah, even when I was doing Midnight Creative Co., I think there was like Midnight Creative I couldn't have. There was all these like little things that, you've got to adjust things accordingly as well. So yeah. So when you've mastered all of that and you've got it all down pat, like you've got your brand logo, you've got your submark logo, you've picked your colors, you know what your visual identity wants to look like, your typography. Because although we are, in a service-based industry, typography is important when it does come to your website, because that's massive. We put a lot of text on our website. So it needs to be easily readable. It needs to be on brand with your business as well. So that's your website is one of your major like brand personalities. Like
Yeah.
That's got to.
Will and Kate say it's like your online business card. I was like, oh, that's so true.
Yeah, that's a great way to think of it because if someone doesn't have a website,
oh, I'm tapped out, not doing it, not booking, too hard. Yeah.
That's a red flag for me. Like I'm just going, yeah.
It's like when you go to the dentist and their magazines are from like 2004 and you're like,
no.
your old mags?
Yeah. So those things are red flags for me because then I go, if you don't have a website, like to me, you're not putting in enough effort to showcase who you are. So I'm like, it doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, and keep that shit updated. So if you bought one of our calendars, they're free through the website. If you're one of our clients last year, you would have gotten one as a Christmas present, like we gave you guys printed ones. But actually in there, we have prompts to be like, hey, like go over your website and social media, like lock in a time every year. And actually, again, like we said, like dissociate yourself from it.
Yeah.
Go through it, look at it from a client's perspective, and update your people. I feel like every time any salon gets a photo shoot, someone leaves. Like when you get a whole team photo, within 3 days, someone resigns. I think that it's really important to kind of like constantly update and refresh things. So like we have a membership with our website people. We pay them a few $100s every month because we're constantly updating things. Obviously, where a lot of you guys find us or where we link you to look at things is always needing updating. So make sure you stay on top of that stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's your online business card.
Yeah, 100%. And so just to I'm just going to tap into the questions here as well. So Eleni, again, I searched ASIC and it's available. So I have two rules of thumb when I come up with a business name, and I still have multiple business names registered if I ever decide to go back into the salon world. Register your ASIC and register a domain straight away. So
Yeah.
you don't want somebody going in and registering Harlow Hair and Beauty or Midnight Creative, and then you go to be like midnightcreative.com and it's gone. So as soon as you come up with a name, even if you don't use it, I think it's $80 for like 3 years or something. ASIC register that shit. Otherwise GoDaddy, or what's the one that I use? Like something domains, Crazy Domains is like a really cheap one. Register the domain.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, there are multiple options. Like you don't just do .com.au. Like
Yeah,
there's
.net,
yeah,
.au. Yeah.
.au. There's multiple there that definitely do that. I think even though like I haven't owned Harlow for 3 years, I still own it.
Yep.
Name and the domain because
Yep.
that's
Yep.
still me.
Absolutely. And if any of you are actually going through a rebrand, and that you would have seen this obviously when I got married, is you can actually, so like if any of you email Caitlin@CaitlinMenzel.com, it will automatically redirect to my new email. And same as if you go to that old website, I may have turned it off now because it's been sort of 2 years, but you can set up redirections for those things. So like when we changed from Raw Edge to Huntress, for example, it was great. Anyone who went to Raw Edge was automatically redirected through to Huntress. So you can set that up and it makes it just a whole lot easier. I say give it 12 to 18 months and then sort of like turn it off, and people should be going to the right spot anyway. Same as like when you used to get rid of like a landline phone. Sure, none of you have landline phones anymore. If you get rid of a landline phone, then yeah, it'll like automatically redirect you.
Yeah. And that's super important. Like you're not going to lose business by doing a rebrand because you're
Yeah.
like, people aren't going to find me. They already know this name. Redirection is so easy. And especially with how good the digital platforms are now, like it's just,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so like with all of your branding as well, make sure that you are consistent across all platforms.
Yeah, everything has to correlate.
So you don't want to have like crazy colors on Instagram, but then your website is flowery. Like, so you make sure everything is across the board consistent, I should say. That's what I'm trying to think of. So you got to, so that builds trust and recognition with your clients as well. So when they are looking for you, they might be typing in your name, like say in social media, they might be typing in your name, but then what's going to pop up is going to be your brand. So they're going to be like, oh, I recognize that. Yep, that's them right there.
Yeah.
Like I do it all the time when I'm like searching in Instagram for someone's handle. Then I just go, I see their icon, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that's it. Like I don't even read the name until I actually get on the page, or and sometimes you just go, oh shit, that wasn't even them. Like went somewhere else because I thought that was their branding. So yeah. So you need to make sure that you do that. And that's where your brand guidelines and your brand kit will come into play. And you just go back and forth off that. And this is something that you can also let your staff know too. So if your staff have their own Instagrams and things like that, give them your brand kit or your brand guidelines so they know the color palette.
Yeah, have it as part of your Salon Bible or as part of your like outlines too.
Yeah. So then the staff
no tacky posting. None.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, because you want them to have their own identity, because they are their own business within your business. You want them to have their own identity, but at the end of the day, it's your face. It's your brand, your name on the line. So you don't want it to be the tacky, crappy, templates that they're using on there that is, a muted beige and your Caitlin's colors. So like just not going to work. So then it's not going to be cohesive with your brand. So it comes across, it's not just about your logo and about what you do. It's about your whole team creating that whole personality with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think with that too, it's like, I know we spoke about this before, like launching the call today, but if you see a great quote that really like resonates with your people or resonates with your brand or something, don't just screenshot that person and post it, like rebrand it into your brand. Like if you've got a lot of clients who are mums, mum memes are the best things to post because they're just everywhere and they're really funny. But like take that quote, rebrand it into your branding, change the colors, change the fonts, make it look like you, and then post it. It's fine. You don't always have to copy and paste what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. And I think that's also like we talk a lot about digital, making sure everything is across the board on digital. Make sure that your print marketing is exactly the same too. Have a professional letterhead, have your business cards, professionally printed. You might be able to design it once you've got your logo and your guidelines, your color palette, everything like that. You might have those and you might be able to design a lot because Canva's great. Like it's so simple to use. And I think that everyone is so fine with being able to jump on and do those things, but send it to professional printers to get them printed, whether you have stickers for your product packaging, whether you have your appointment cards. Have them professionally printed. Don't try and do these things yourself because they always end up looking like a 2-year-old has done it. Like, it's just like that just also makes you look professional, and that you're not just slapping things together because people don't take you serious if you're doing that. Whereas if they look at something and like have your business card or your appointment card and it feels nice or it looks really nice or there's just an element on it that they just go, oh, that looks really good or that feels good, makes all the difference in how they perceive you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not actually as expensive as what you think it is either.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. And like obviously if you're good with Canva and things like that, design those things yourself. There are some great templates, but personalize it. Don't just grab a template off Canva and use it, because they're so generic that it's just use it as a guide. It's a good guide and that's it.
Yeah. I laugh so much when I see like 3 salons posting the same thing. I was like, "Ooh, got a new graphic today." Like,
yeah, that's it. And you just go like, if you go into Canva and then you just look on their templates, it's always the top templates that you see because people are just going onto that. Whereas like, it's like if you're using like this is completely different to branding, but it's like if you're using like ChatGPT and stuff like that, do not copy paste.
God, Lord me, read through it. If it doesn't sound like you talking, it doesn't sound like you talking.
That's right, because at the end of the day, it's just a machine spitting out words.
My husband's a teacher and at TAFE, and he's like, it is so funny how many people think they can type in like how to do an ab workout into ChatGPT and then they'll copy and paste it across. He's like, you're not that articulate. What are you talking about? And it's exactly the same with salon post and everything. That doesn't sound like you.
Because they use words that you didn't use. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they use all the big words and try to make it sound all fancy and stuff. Use it as a guide, and like same with Canva, use it as a guide. Use that picture, like that template that they've got, change things around. I like that style, but let me create something that's in my branding.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes.
Okay.
I've gone further than my notes, so I'm just all right, so some tips about, your brand audits, like we were talking about if you're wanting to change things and stuff like that. So if you start with clear objectives, so before you really dive into it, define what you want to achieve. So what do you want to get out of it? Like what do you really want to get out of doing a rebrand? What's the basis of it? Is it that you have bought a salon from someone and you're not liking their branding, or you've just decided that you want to change the name, so you want to rebrand, your clientele has changed, where you're based has changed, define why you're actually doing it, and make sure that you have a list of everything that you've got that is already branded. So, and know that you've got to go through that to-do list, that checklist, to go, right, have I rebranded that? Have I rebranded that? Have I rebranded that? So yeah, have really clear objectives of where you're starting and what needs to be done.
Yeah, I think also with that is too, is like starting with the end in mind. So it's like, who is it that you're trying to attract? Who is it that you want in your business? what is it you want to achieve by this, and then work backwards from there when it comes to your branding as well. I think sometimes we're very focused on us and we're not focused on them, the people that
Yeah.
and the people that we, put it.
And also continue to look back on like things like what attracts you to a restaurant that you go to? What attracts you to, the clothing store that you go to? Like, what are those elements that have drawn you in? And think about that and go, okay, so if that's what's drawn me into that, what's drawing people into my business, and is my brand doing that feeling for them? Is what going into that clothing store, that specific clothing store, does for
Power outfit, whatever that looks like.
That's right. You look at Culture Kings, like you go into Culture Kings and you have that feeling. You're like, man, I'm a badass.
I'm ghetto. I'm too hard.
Yeah. Give me my Jordans, like, give me my basketball shit. Like, so you go in there and you know how you feel when you're in there. They've got the DJ going, so yeah, think of how you feel when you go into businesses. Is that the same feeling that you think that your clients are getting from you, or what you want to create for them?
Yeah, and so funny actually on that is like when you're talking about designing a space or designing a logo or designing something like that, a rule of thumb when you're designing a home is like find the furniture pieces and like the clothing and everything that really speaks to you the most. So if you've got this like, I always think about like my hair festival suit, and it was like fluoro highlighter pink, and they're like, cool, so if you like have that in your room somewhere, if you have it on your wall, like, is that going to motivate you in a workspace? Like, should you buy a piece of furniture that's that color? Like, if it was the color that resonated with you, then choose something that's that color. And if it was the fabric that resonated with you, then find something that's in that fabric or that has that feeling. Or, don't be afraid to kind of like step outside the box and find things that feel really good to you. Like, this is like vintage, this is from my nana, and this is like one of my favorite pieces, and like my whole room here was designed around that one piece. So like, don't be afraid to take something really random and kind of go, cool, well, this is why it makes me feel good, and I want to have that feeling all the time.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to get feedback from your clients too. Like, what do they like about your space? Like, why are they coming in? Like,
why did they find you initially, or why did they buy from you initially is a really good question too. Like, what that drawed you in?
Yeah. So it's those sorts of things, because they're the people that you want to attract, so what was it about your business that attracted them in the first place? And like, a lot of people will be so honest with you. It's great. And they'll tell you everything, and you'll just be like, great, that's a great idea. Like, that was, that's awesome. Or, oh, we've really dropped off on doing that, for our clients that, doesn't resonate with them anymore, or, so let's shift that. And, and that's where it comes into customer service versus customer experience.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about it before. So customer service, we all want to have great customer service. That's what
be kind and friendly is customer service, right?
Yeah. And that is, customer service is what your clients expect from you. So it's an expectation. So it's answering the phones, it's greeting them, it's getting them a coffee. It is, anything like that. Having a smile on your face, asking how their day was, their expectations, which is customer service. And we all should be doing those things really well. That's as an expectation. Customer experience is how they feel. So when they come into your salon, how do you make them feel? You might answer the phone, and if you don't say it with a smile, like, it's an expectation that you're going to answer the phone, but it's how you answer it and how you talk to them and the conversations you have. That's what makes them feel something. So you want your clients to have that client experience. And I can, like, a perfect example of this, which I'm going to use Kaz's business as a sorry, Kaz.
There, Kaz.
So Kaz was in the salon one day, and I was talking to her, and I was like, my skin is so shit. I need help. Like, I really need help. Like, it just is so dry and whatever. And she was like, right, the perfect girl for you at my salon is Charity. So she booked me in straight away. And like, from that, all the messages that I got from Kaz, from the business, from my Noah chick, was so uplifting. Like, they were just really friendly and really nice. Like, and I was like, oh, that's really nice, really cool. Leading up to the appointment, the second I walked in, Charity was there to greet me and sat down with me. Didn't just be like, oh, come straight through, whatever. Like, she come and sat next to me and discussed everything with me. Didn't take me into any room. And I felt so comfortable with her. And she explained everything to me in a way that I understand. Obviously there's a lot of technical things that go on when it comes to your skin, but like the experience I had with Charity, even from when we went in and she was doing my facial and everything like that, how she made me feel and how comfortable, because like, obviously, like no one really needs to know, but I'm almost 40. So,
oh, you old bitch.
and so going in, and Charity is a lot younger, so you do have those things going like, oh man, she's young, like,
she's young and hot and cool.
I know, right?
And so I'm like, my skin fixed.
is she gonna like look at my skin and go, oh, you're done for, like you're just old now?
No. It's a lost cause.
Yeah, she treated me like a person. She spoke to me in a way that I would understand too, and then made me feel so amazing. And even from leaving, the check-ins and everything like that afterwards, it just was so personal. It wasn't a generic check-in. It was from Charity saying, how's your skin feeling? It's just those little things that made my customer experience like so elevated with I Know a Chick, because the customer service things I expected. Booking the appointment, just saying hello, but it wasn't even just the hello when I went in. It was the sitting with me and discussing things with me, and made me feel young again.
Love stuff, wouldn't it?
I know, and I always tell Kaz she can't lose her. She's
well, Charity's been with Kaz since when Kaz first opened. I think it was like very, very early days.
Yeah. So and she's
you want to show your age there. Charlie used to wear Ed Hardy leggings.
You know what?
Trade school every week, same Ed Hardy leggings.
They were the shit, and I still have them. I can't get rid of them. They are.
That's the best.
Yeah, they are my
Oh God, I wouldn't fit anything I wore to trade school back in the day. Jesus, I used to wear this Bettina Liano pinafore skirt thing. I remember Adam loved it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was awesome. That's so good. Yeah, 5 years, Kaz. That's awesome. I know that she's been with you a long time. That's amazing.
Yeah. Get rid of that. I've already spoken about that. Love that. You go through your notes and you're just like, I've gone way past this.
Yeah. We just go off on a tangent, me and you know that.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so just like a couple of things to kind of like end this off is stay true to your brand identity. So I know that sometimes it's easy, especially when you do have staff, for them to go off and start doing their own thing. Have those team meetings and keep bringing it up. We need to stick with our brand guidelines. We need to do this, because once they start trailing off, that's when the integrity of your brand kind of gets lost.
Yeah.
And it's not, to be honest, it's not what you have built your business for. Like, you haven't built it for someone else to just go and completely change how your business should be perceived. So
yeah, I think and like my friend, Jay Edwards is a really like stickler for this too. Like every one of their staff has to have Edwards & Co logo. They have specific guidelines and brand rules that they have to follow, especially when they're employed. And it's really, really important. You want everybody to, even though they do have their own personality and they do have their own areas of specialty and they do have those things, it's really important that exactly like you said, like people can still recognize that they work for you.
Yeah. And I think that's the important thing, is that, your brand is your business. They are in your business. They need to be your brand. Like, that's why they are in your business and not having their own, like they don't have their own business. Although I say they're a business within your business, it is your business. So they need to align with all of that. Choose the trends that align with your brand too. Like, say if TikTok doesn't align with your brand, like, don't do it. Like, don't just do it because it's there and everybody talks about it. If you do things that like your salon is, you know, that fun and bubbly, like, you know, you'll do the crazy TikTok videos and stuff like that. Yeah, great, go for it. It's not really something for technical things. It's about fun. And if you, not saying that if you're not fun, don't do TikTok, but if it's not your thing, don't do it. Like if it doesn't align with your brand, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know, choose the right ones, because then you're just going to overwhelm yourself, thinking I've got to get my brand out to do all these things, because everyone's doing it. Doesn't mean it's going to bring people in your door. So
Yeah.
you need to, worry about that. And everything you do, make sure you do put your own spin on it. Like as we're saying with Canva, use the templates as a guide, but put your own spin on it. Have your Pinterest board, but then when you decide to create your logo or pick your colors, put your own spin on it. Like sits with you more than just copy paste. Like there's so many options out there now. And I think that everyone's so across the board when it comes to digital stuff now that you can find so much inspiration. But leave it at that. It's inspiration. Still create your own.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too. It's like you can appreciate what other people are doing and you can appreciate their work and their brand and their things, but you don't have to copy it.
That's right.
It's not befitting of what you're doing.
That's right. And it's not authentic then. So if you just copy and paste, or, you know, same as like a Canva logo, if you use their template and just literally write your name and just do that, that's not authentic. You know, people come to you because of who you are. And on that, listen to your audience, listen to what they want, ask your clients, what are they, you know, why do they come to you? Things like that. Really take it on board. Because no one's ever going to say anything horrible. They come to you for a reason, like, you know, so.
I think that too, like, depending on the relationship you have with your clients, like I could literally say to my clients, what do you not like about me? And they would tell me 5 things they didn't like about like the business, you know what I mean? But like prompt them for questions, like you've got them in your chair, you've got them in the beauty bed, like ask them questions like, hey, what was it why was the reason you came to me? Like, what was it that drew you in? And why do you keep coming back? And what do you like about us? And what do you think we could update, or what do you think we could change? Like, don't be afraid to ask that feedback because it's so valuable.
Yeah. And I think that one thing that you always did really well in your salons, Kate, was that you had this idea that every year you needed to update something.
Yeah.
I think and I think that's so important because it gives your clients something to be excited about as well. So it gives them to keep coming back, because then they come back and they're like, oh, wow, that's new. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, yeah. And they know that you are actually putting their hard-earned money to good use. Like, you know, so they're just like, they're not just coming into a salon that's had the same, you know, like.
Yeah, I think that like people want to see that their money's being reinvested. And I also think in terms of your staff too, I think it's like they want to see, like, because staff are so fucking entitled these days, that I feel like staff really want to see that like their hard work and their sales and everything are being invested, whether it's into training or whether it's into like, you know, new fit out, or whether it's into new like belongings, whatever that might be. They want to see their money's being reinvested, and it's like they get to reap the rewards of it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that's probably the basis of choosing your brand. It's you know, your brand voice and your brand personality. Like, you know, you really need to put that across of what you want clients to perceive you as.
I think that's the thing too is like, you know, even, I'm sorry to cut you off again there, but it's, you know, like when we go to Hair Festival, when we speak at events and we do things like that, you guys know you've got to like pump up the color and the structure of like what you wear. Like I want you to be in like textural, like fun, like really fashionable things that like loud and speak to my brand. I don't want you showing up in beige when I'm there in a fluoro green suit. That's not part of my branding. So having your staff every day show up in something that actually reflects your brand as well. It's not just about the online, it's about the physical too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because it's not just a logo. Like, and I think that's where people kind of get like confused. They just think your brand is your logo. And
Absolutely.
you're like, No, your brand is you. Like it's you.
And I
Yeah.
feel like everyone used to walk into our salon and like see like the young cool people, and even in the barbershop, like they all used to wear the same shoes and post photos of their shoes. They would all wear the same every day, and
Yeah.
it's good for people to be able to see like that your staff kind of believe in your vision and believe in your brand as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much all I've got to say. But other than yeah, just write down who your target audience is. You know.
Yeah, deep dive. What do they do? Where do they eat? What's their income? What do they do for work? What do they look like? Like everything.
Start there. And I think you kind of like once you start there and you go, all right, well, I've created that person, you really get to know, all right, well, that person likes, you know, to be at the beach or this. So then you go, okay, so let me start looking at, go on Pinterest, beachy vibe type things, then colors, then you get, you know, typography and stuff like that. So it's very important to start with your target audience.
Yep, start with the end in mind always.
100%.
I love that. If there's any questions there, any final things, I believe it was Brooke at the start that said she was looking for a rebrand. No, who was it? Someone else. I don't know. If there's any questions there, you've got about 60 seconds to kind of drop something in there. But yeah, I really appreciate that. And I think it's really important that people look, there's so many elements that go into their branding. So it's really important that people look outside just the online thing or just the social media thing. And I think social media is so oversaturated. Like look outside of that as well. So you have the walk through traffic, like you said, you have the drive through people, you have people looking at you online, you have people walking physically into your space. Like they all need to be like, they all need to correlate, they all need to be congruent, they all need to, you know, be cohesive.
100%.
Cool.
Love it.
No final questions here, my loves. It's been an hour and 15. I knew we'd talk shit and we'd go over time. We always do.
Well, yeah, as when I spoke to my husband, spoke to Jay. Oh, when will you finish? Really?
I don't know. Just whenever, Jay.
That's not a question to ask. I'm with Caitlin.
I know. It's ridiculous. We have team meetings the last 3 hours. It's great. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for everyone for being here today. And the replay will be sent to your emails in the next 24 hours. But thank you so much, Charlie, for coming in and just talking about branding and everything that you do. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for you. I just love you.
And I hope it all really does make sense when you put it all together. But yeah, everyone will get that email, and I'll also post my details in there. So then if you do have other questions, I'm happy to answer them. Like, you know, it's if there's anything that comes up tomorrow or, you know, even in a week's time, definitely shoot me an email or a message.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my love. I'm going to love you and leave you guys. Have an amazing night. Thank you so much for coming, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care.
Stay up, counting all the way up, count blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up.